Hey, what's up guys? So welcome to today's video. Today, as you can see, we have a small city setup, and recently I started playing a game, and in that game I found that whenever you finish driving you could go into the map, and there was a kind of cool animations that happened. So basically the animation was a little bit like this, obviously a little bit more polished, but in general it was like this. So today let's learn how to make it. As you can see, it comes from the actual first person camera. Then when I click map, M or map or any button that you want, it redirects you to a 2D UI of the map. And if I were to click the same button again, it goes from this 2D UI back to this 3D camera, and which you can control and do stuff with. So as you can see here, it works from any position, but obviously you could spend some more time polishing it and the output will be a little bit better. So yeah, let's get started. So here we have our scene setup. We have our basic player here with two cameras. One is the main camera that every player has. This is the one that we control when moving around. And then we have a zoom camera. This is the camera used to actually animate from the first person view to the actual top-down view. And then we have an end pose. This is basically pointing downwards or wherever you want the camera to go to. So basically for our case, we want the camera to just face downwards here. So this is where our end pose is. So basically our zoom camera will take from the main camera to this end position, back and forth depending on where we want to go. And then we have our UI. Our UI is basically just the map. As you can see, we've got a top-down view of the map. I basically just took a screenshot and then just make it black and white with outlines. And we have two maps here. And then we've got the canvas group, which allows us to fade in and out both images at the same time using this alpha component. And then we just disable the canvas component when we don't need it. And then on our player, we have the move camera script, which is responsible for the whole transition. As you can see here, we reference the transition camera, the main camera, the end position transform, the canvas, the top-down canvas script, as well as we've got duration for both the transition of the camera and then the duration for showing the actual map UI. So you can control both independently if you want, or you could have it set as the same value if you really wanted to. And then wait timer is how smooth we want it to be. So let me just play it and show you how it is. So this is the baseline. All right, it's quite smooth. Now if I were to, let's put it a big number. Okay, 0.1 is big. As you can see, it's way more choppy. And if you had it as a lower value, then it would be a little bit smoother as well. So these are all the variables in the scene. Now let's go and look at the actual code. So here is the move camera script. So again, I've hidden the actual variables that we already saw earlier. And we have also two private ones, increment and increment map. This is basically used for the algorithm to know how much to increment the transition each time, as we'll see in a bit. Then we have a void update. So here we are basically looking for whether or not we pressed M, and if we did press M, then we just check whether or not we are currently away from the main camera or we are at the main camera, and then we just call the relevant method. So one will call the move camera true, another one is false to indicate whether or not we should move away from the main camera or to the main camera. Then we've got our move camera. This is an enumerator. As you can see here, we also call another enumerator. This one is for the UI. The map one is for the UI. We'll see that in a bit. We have a boolean called move away. This indicates where to move. And here we have two vector frees, one for the start position and one for the end position. We basically just check if we are moving away or not, and if we are, we just assign the correct position to each variable. We do the same thing for the rotation with the start and end rotation, and then we just position the transition camera to the start bus we enable the transition camera, we disable the main camera, this is very important, and we calculate our increment using the formula 1 divided by duration divided by wait timer. And then we just do a basic for loop. At each increment we do vector free.loop, and then we just feed in the start position, end position, and then the final time. The final time is calculated from 0 to 1, and then we increment by the increment variable we just calculated, and then we just wait for the wait timer. And then once the for loop has been complete, we make sure that our transition camera's position and rotation is set to the correct end values. And once this is set, we set ease away to move away, and then we also just disable the transition camera if we need to, and then enable the main camera if we need to. And then same thing for the map, but this one takes values because we are dealing with alpha, so from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0, but the whole logic is still the same thing. We are using math.loop, take the start and the end values, and then just equate it for each iteration, and then making sure everything is set up. However, as you can see, we have one more group of codes here. This basically just whenever we are moving away from the main camera, our UI might appear before the transition camera actually reaches the top-down view. This is actually a wanted behavior that I want, because sometimes the actual UI does not match the top-down view quite well, so it's better to just hide it before the camera reaches that top-down view. So this is the check. If we are moving away from the camera, then once this has been completed, we just end the whole transition algorithm here itself. As you can see, I just stop all coroutines, so this will stop the other coroutine from operating as well, and then we just disable the transition and the main camera and set ease away. And in case we are moving to the actual player, then we don't actually need to care for this one. But yeah, so that's about it for the coding side of things. So if you followed this tutorial carefully, then you should be able to have a working camera system that allows you to pan in and out from 2D to 3D and vice versa. And if you find this video helpful, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you have not already, and don't forget to tell me guys what you want me to cover on next. I do have some more series that I'm planning to do. Obviously this takes some time to properly plan out, but I'm always listening to your suggestions and opinions. So yeah, so don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.